Okay. In aviation, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. In the meantime, I want you all to be able to take with you, even at the end of this semester, something that you can show people how much you've learned in the semester you've been here, or maybe even the year you've been here. So I'm going to tell you about this theory called theory of relativity. Now, why am I getting into that? Well, for a number of reasons. It has something to do with energy and aviation. But at the same time, it is something that for most people is so complex that if you understand the theory of relativity, they'll say, no, I have no idea what it is. I would hope that in the next maximum 30 minutes, you'll have not only a good idea of what the relativity theory is, but also be able to say to somebody, oh yeah, I know what that is. So you're sitting next to your Aunt Eva, and you say to your Aunt Eva, do you understand relativity? She's going to say, no, I have no clue. And you're going to say, well, wait a minute now, I can tell you all about relativity. Einstein is by far the most famous physicist in the last 120 years. If you get out into the world of any kind of education, and you use the word Einstein, people are going to know who you're talking about. He was born before the turn of the century. He made his great discovery in 1905, and he made it with absolutely no research information whatsoever. No one had done anything in that field. He thought it all up. That's one of the reasons why people revere Einstein, because he came up with an earth-shattering theory that turned out to be absolutely correct, but he did it with no prior knowledge of anything other than his mind. He began to think about trains and whether or not you're sitting in a station and whether or not you can look out the window and determine whether it's your train that's moving or the one next to you. That got him thinking. So I am going to take you through a little tour. In the meantime, the concept of energy is found everywhere. It has to do with the aircraft in the design, the testing, the manufacture, commercial service. Energy plays a huge part. And I'll demonstrate that as we go through this lecture. We're going to look at the implications of energy in aviation, but I want you to take something and hang on to it as a signal or a flag of what you've learned in college. And I can tell you right now that if you said to somebody that you understand at least a little bit Einstein's theory of relativity, you will blow their mind. So we're going to go through that. Albert Einstein in 1905, this was when he came up with the astounding theory of relativity, 1905. Here he is later in the United States at Princeton University. They opened up, they wouldn't call it a college, it's an institute. They opened up an institute specifically for him. And now, of course, it's populated by physicists around the world. It's called the Institute for Advanced Study, which means that you go there, they pay you a huge amount of money, and you do nothing and talk and come up with ideas and exchange ideas with other physicists or professional people in the institute. It's a great environment to come up with new ideas. Okay, so relativity. All right, that theory. Let's go one by one. We'll start off by saying the laws of physics are the same. Now, what do you mean by that? You all know what some of the laws are. Newton, does everybody understand maybe a couple of things Newton said? He said for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Did anybody ever hear that? No? Yes? Okay. So Newton was one of those people that formulated some laws. He formulated 3 laws, in fact. And there are other laws. There are laws of gravitation. There are laws of thermodynamics. We're going to look at each one of them, but because that's not my issue here is to get you the relativity. You walk up to a pool or a billiard table, and there's but if you, especially on the table, right? The ball's not going to travel forever. What's stopping it? The friction. Okay, so that's the idea of motion at rest, or, something in motion or something at rest. Said, again on a pool table, if you shoot the cue ball against an object ball, and you do it pretty squarely on, the object ball moves and the cue ball stops dead where the object ball used to be. So for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's one of the laws of physics, right? What I'm getting you to is to understand what he meant when he said the laws of physics are the same, right? Which means that even if that pool table is on an aircraft at 600 miles an hour, the balls are going to behave the same way. There's a law of universal gravitation, which in a sense says that gravity is proportional to the mass of two objects and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. You don't have to remember that. You can put it down as notes in case you want to go back and look at it later, but it's not critical for you to remember that. I'd much rather have you remember the first two of Newton's laws, that motion at rest or equal and opposite reaction. The law of gravitation is not critical. Now, has anybody ever studied anything in thermodynamics? Have you? Anybody? No? Okay. Thermodynamics is an area where you come up with some rather interesting concepts. One is that you can neither destroy nor create energy. Energy just is. And all it can do is change shape. It can change from potential to kinetic or kinetic to potential, but you cannot create energy. It's in the world, it's in the universe that we live in. Energy is there. You can make modifications to it by changing its shape and changing what it applies to, but you can't create it and you can't destroy it. Entropy changes. This is really interesting. So you take a glass, a glass of water, not a cup, but a glass of water, without any water in it. Now you have a glass, right? And you drop the glass on the ground and it shatters into pieces. What entropy says is those pieces are not by themselves going to jump up and gather together back into a glass form. Right? So entropy of going from form to less form, to less form, to less form. So it goes from glass to a glass being shattered. That's entropy. But it can't go in the opposite direction. You can't have a shattered pile of glass on the ground and have that jump up and become a glass again. Okay. So these are some of the laws. What Einstein had in mind when he said the laws of physics are the same. Now, in all frames of reference, tell me a frame of reference. Frame of reference. Are we in a frame of reference? Jordy? Are we in a frame of reference right now? Yeah, we are. Matthew? What's another frame of reference? Well, if we're not in the room, where are we? Are we walking to the bus? Isn't that a reference? Car? How about sitting in a room like we are? So think about all the different frames of reference. Okay, so I threw him that wad of paper. The frame of reference is he's sitting and I'm standing and I threw it to him. But if we were in an aircraft going 600 miles an hour, what would happen? Same thing, right? But the frame of reference is different. Now, relative to the Earth, we're doing 600 miles an hour. But that wad of paper is going to do the same thing. Now, if it turns out that I have Nico stand over here and then run that way while I throw the wad of paper at him or a football, that's a different frame of reference. No longer sitting, he's now running, and I'm going to try to throw it at him. If he came down, running down the aisle of an airliner, and I threw it at him, same thing would happen, okay? All right. Riding in a car. Big, wide open frame of reference. Jesus, frame of reference, what is it? What's left? In an airplane. In space. Right? Exploring in space on the way to the moon. So when you describe to your Aunt Eva that Einstein said the laws of physics are the same, she might say, well, what is the law of physics? You'll say for every motion there's an equal opposite reaction, right? That's one. And all frames of reference, and the frames of reference. One can come up with all kinds of different frames of reference. The football from the uniform motion. Why is that important? Because if he didn't have it there, it is so complex to understand that the laws of physics are the same in all frames of reference. He couldn't figure out from a calculation point of view whether he was able to get rid of in uniform motion. Right? Oh, hi. Blue? You mean these forms? No. No, blue forms. No. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so uniform motion. Motions means that you cannot be accelerating or decelerating. You can't be turning left or right. So in the case of Nico running across the front of the room and catching the wad of paper, Einstein would probably not agree with that because he probably would not be running in uniform motion. He probably would be accelerating or decelerating. So only special theory of relativity would apply. So, the first thing you can try to understand and maybe even memorize is the laws of physics are the same in all frames of reference in uniform motion. And that has a lot to do with how aircraft behave in the air. And we'll get into the energy effect on commercial airlines, especially in turbulence. That's the special theory. All right, now we're at the general theory of relativity. 9 years later, and with the help of a very good friend who was an exceedingly good mathematician. Pardon? You all want to take a break now? Oh, you want to go? I'm sorry. Okay, I thought you were talking about. Okay, I will, sure. The laws of physics are the same in all frames of reference for motion. So when you try to remember the two different theories of relativity, I want you to be able to tell me the difference between the two. It should be obvious by now what the difference is between the two. And now we're going to go to the general theory. Everybody remember the general theory? Able to shorten his special theory of relativity. He called the general theory of relativity. frames of reference. Period. He was able to make the calculation with the help of his friend mathematician, calculation that showed that he could get rid of the restriction of uniform motion. So now, anything in your life, remember those words right there. The laws of physics are the same in all frames of reference. And if relativity, he's really talking about everything is relative to everything, right? If you're falling in space towards the Earth, you're inside a box, you probably have no idea you're falling towards the Earth. The box is falling, you're falling with the box. You could probably play ping pong inside that box if it was big enough, and the laws of physics would be the same, even though you're heading to Earth. Now, when you stop, that's a different story. But certainly on your way down, you don't have to worry about the laws of physics. They are the same in that frame of reference. So, notice he eliminated the in uniform motion. That's all I want you to remember. I want you to remember that the original one was the laws of physics are the same in all frames of reference in uniform motion, and then he was able to get rid of the words in uniform motion. And that was crucial, because that solved all the problems that he ran into when he talked about the special theory of relativity. So if you guys and girls want to impress anyone, just tell them that you understand enough about the Einstein theory of relativity to be able to say that. The laws of physics are the same in all frames of reference. And then they might say, what do you mean by law of physics, or what do you mean by frame of reference? And you can tell them the laws of physics, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Frame of reference, in a car, in an airplane, in space, whatever. Right? Okay, so now we're going to get back into the energy field. Two forms of energy, potential energy. We talked about energy. What makes up potential energy? Tell me. What are the three things that make up potential energy? Kiara? Three things. What are they? Give me one. If an airplane is up in altitude, yeah, height. Who said that? That's correct. That's one. That's one. Pardon? What about whatever the thing weighs? Mass, right? Mass? Right. So you got height and mass, what else? No, that's also down. Gravity, yeah, gravity. So you have gravity and you have height. And it's a formula. Formula has to include all three, but it's really, really simple, because all you do is multiply one times the other. Potential energy, energy sub P, mass, gravity is the height. And if you do it all in the meter system of kilograms and meters, you're going to come out with a perfect answer. So mgh is the formula for potential energy. And then when I get into kinetic energy, the formula is even easier. So this is a good smattering of the theory of relativity and kinetic and potential energy. I'm going to show you a video, a 11-minute video this afternoon, of in racing. Okay, so here's the mass in kilograms and height in meters. I have to remember it as much as I want you to remember that the mgh is in the metric system. You can do it in much easier in the metric system to remember. All the units are in metric elements. And if you're taking good notes, you should get 100% on the next quiz tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. Is everybody ready? Huh? Anybody? Okay, kinetic energy. What are the elements that make up kinetic energy? Andrew. Speed, that's exactly right. What else? Movement, that's speed. What else? No? What's one of the elements in potential energy? What was, huh? What? Mass, yeah. Weight, mass. So you have just two things in kinetic energy. You have this mass plus its speed. That's it. And that's an easy formula. Sure, what makes up this energy? Mass, right? And speed or velocity. Because generally speaking, the equation shows a V, as in velocity. You can make it speed if you want to. Whatever. As long as you understand how simple it is to calculate kinetic energy and potential energy. So the formula has to include both, right? And there it is. This is the formula for kinetic energy. 1/2 for the velocity. That's it. Mass in kilograms, velocity in meters per second. That's in the metric system. If you want a pound system, you can do it in the pound system. So it would be mass in pounds, right? And it would be velocity in miles per hour. But you don't have to do that. Metric's so much easier. I just want you to remember, don't let anyone ever tell you that it's speed that causes accidents. It is kinetic energy. I know you can't feel it, you can't touch it, you can't see it, it doesn't have a color, it doesn't have a smell, but kinetic energy is in every moving thing, as we're going to see in this video. Okay. Everybody get that last slide? I'll go back to it if you want. Sure. So kinetic energy is just simply mass times velocity. Now somebody calculated, it wasn't me, that knew that you had to have 1/2 the mass times the velocity squared. Don't let me go rapidly through these slides unless you if you don't have them written down carefully enough, because there's going to be a quiz on them. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at a YouTube video of about 11 minutes. On the what? No, I don't want you to take notes on the video. I just want you to observe what happens to these vehicles at the speed that they're going at. Okay, you guys, pay attention.
Caution is out. Take a look. Top of the screen, you see Rossi coming out of his pit stall. He gets together with Kimball. Oh! What a terrifying moment for Helio Castroneves. The left front wheel, the suspension coming in and over the cockpit.
This is 2 races in a row. We saw this problem with the Lotion and Newgard at Mid-Ohio. And it's, your race leader, I know the feeling.
Glide through. Meanwhile, here is Phil Keane, who found a way. Oh, and contact between Phil Keane. Oh, dear me. And that's a big accident with Phil Keane and Andrea Fausti. And Keane has absolutely slammed into the tyre wall at the start of the pit straight. And Andrea Fausti crunches into the pit wall as well.
La jaula, antivuelco y la jaula de seguridad. Observen, ya viene con algún inconveniente. Ese es el golpe.
Duro, ¿eh?
Sí, fíjate, casi vuelca.
No, y camina casi, le pega con el pecho a la pared.
Sí. Ah, se toca con Estambul.
Claro.
Se toca con Estambul.
Y sale como catapulta hacia la pared.
Et attention parce que tout peut être relancé dans quelques instants, ma chère Guénaëlle, parce que...
Ouh, c'est Jean-Luc Boblik. Oh.
Allez, Duncan Tapi, bon, et ben...
The pieces falling off those cars contain kinetic
Just
energy.
loose early on in this race, but they did settle down.
Back straight away. 48 hit, and Jimmy Johnson goes spinning around. Busher.
Watch that car bounce.
Chris Buescher on his lid and lands back on his wheels. Caution. Oh, man, we saw 4 wide off the corner over there. I was afraid of this.
Truex trying to keep the field behind him.
Keep it behind you, keep it behind you, keep it behind you. One to go, one to go.
The white flag is out.
They're going to
Sauter with a big run. They're crashing.
But watch that car. Watch the car
down
on the track. Watch how many times it bounces. That's kinetic energy.
For Christopher Bell. Watch it.
Well, Daniel Hemrick almost went underneath that Ford truck of Christopher Bell.
It's a testament to the safety of these racing vehicles that Christopher Bell can take that kind of ride.
Nobody at the front of the field, although Max Gunter has a look to try and get back past Seti Camaro.
Oh, my goodness.
Slides down the inside, takes out Nico Carey, and safety car is probably on the way again, isn't it, I'd imagine?
Moto Park will take the next.
Oh my word, a massive accident for Jake Hughes as he goes over the back of Antoine Hubert coming into the hairpin. That is I think he's done for today.
Cuts across, Lance Stroll gets into the lead of the race, and there's a crash already further back. We've got cars pointed in the wrong direction. 2 have come together. Then there might be a pileup. One of the Prema cars is in there. There is a pileup. Nobody can avoid them. Well, the Muka Motorsport cars get stuck. A couple of drivers slow off the line. Great start for Lorandi at the front of the field, and Sergio Seti Camaro was one of them who got a bit of a tag by the looks of things. He's the one who's running the wrong way down the circuit. Then everybody else getting caught up and involved in that pileup just with no...
Peter Lee is just unsighted. Straight into the back. Corkscrews in the air. PK very nearly goes over as well as he had a car knocked into his path. That is a monster. That's a huge coming together, isn't it?
And as you say, it was dust, wasn't it?
Ese era el límite. Tenía la línea. Si nos parece bien para otro piloto, nos tiene que parecer bien para él. Efectivamente. Ahí tenemos a Giovinazzi apretando a su compañero de equipo. Por dentro, por fuera.
Increíble el accidente. Se ha llevado a Rapax por delante también. Giovinazzi se intentaba salir de la aspiración por dentro. El toque safety car en pista. Accidente importante.
Y marcha atrás, además.
Giovinazzi, Pete gets around him, and it's not the start that the Italian needed. And a spin for Pete. Will he be collected? Yes, Lynn hits him. We've got Maria off into the barrier, and that will be an immediate safety car with multiple cars involved. Wow, Matsushita's there. A disaster for him. Contact in the first turn, contact in the second.
Nelson aussi, je m'en fais pas pour eux. Voilà, il y a une grosse bagarre.
Oh,
oh là là.
Oh, attention! Oh, le crash terrible! Le crash terrible de Sacha Botman! Le crash terrible! Bouge Sacha, bouge, c'est bon, il bouge. Sacha Botman va bien.
Pourquoi il est
oui, là, je pense qu'il y a incompréhension ou... Oh là là, ça tape très fort. Crash terrible de Sacha Botman, la Ferrari stratégique complètement détruite. Sacha Botman va bien, il est sorti seul de la voiture.
Ça c'est voilà, ça.
C'est l'information parce que.
Élevé, on va revoir ce qui s'est passé derrière, essayer de comprendre exactement. Il y a eu un accrochage entre trois voitures et à ces vitesses-là, évidemment, on peut très aisément partir en tonneau. On voit que les arceaux de sécurité ont parfaitement rempli leur office. Il y a eu un gros impact avec le mur. Il y a eu le tonneau qui évidemment est très spectaculaire, mais voilà, ce contact avec le mur là pour Lopez a également été très lourd. Les commissaires qui
They were passing other guys. In fact, they were passing that battle in GTT, were they? Oh, huge! The Porsche just never turned in. Well, the Porsche was coming from the other side of the...
Da fermi, spettacolare, come sempre, impegnativa, il semaforo che si spegne e vediamo il via con Mick Schumacher che si va subito ad inserire alle spalle. Molto veramente impegnativi, ovviamente da dietro non è possibile accorgersi è molto difficile comunque quando si è lanciati in partenza accorgersi che c'è una monoposto ferma.
Here's their yesterday's race. They got the onboard from Paul. You can see they're obviously very close going into the chicane, but there's just that bit of contact. It was such an unlucky incident, but not great between the two Carlin teammates.
Deutschland. Viel Erfolg heute auch noch beim Durchkommen. Und heute Abend sehen wir uns 1930 Klassensiegerehrung im
Matt.
That left front corner structurally sound, and they have repaired it with.
Oh my goodness! The 25 hit hard. That's Chris Cochran.
Gosh, that's a hard hit. So if sometimes you don't have to touch the driver in front of you, but if there's any contact at all, you're going to see a result like we just saw.
Such a tough break for Joey Gase. Remember last year, Michael, top 5 here at Talladega. High hopes for him today. Jimmy.
There's Rahal up the inside of the black and green car, Charlie Kimball, and I think there might have just been contact right there.
And the incident is under review because of that contact.
Wow, that was a big impact.
Didn't you just have a sense something was coming with all these fast guys wanting to get back?
Est parti en tête à queue. Ouais, c'est bien la voiture de Mathieu Jaminet qui est en 6e position avec encore une fois et un nouveau tonneau. 2 tonneaux dans la même course pour Ryan Cullen, l'Irlandais. Alors attention, là, ce qu'il faut surtout, c'est que tous les concurrents. Oh là 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 là, ça.
Il a eu un problème très étrange. Regardez à droite de l'écran. Ah ouais, d'accord. Il a tapé le coin du mur à Tem Markelov. On l'a vu.
Non, le pneu visiblement qui ne touche personne.
Alors on va le voir. Bah voilà. Vous voyez, il va partir dans l'échappatoire à gauche. Et en fait, on n'a pas le droit de couper, on est obligé de passer à gauche. Vous voyez, il y a cette bande blanche. Et là, va taper à gauche.
Qui va taper, voilà.
Voilà. Et là, les autres arrivent derrière, peuvent pas l'éviter. Voilà, il a les 2 autres derrière lui. Il a embarqué les 2 autres.
Meantime, here comes Fix back up onto the racetrack. He's going to try to snap that car. Oh, and he gets hammered. He gets taken hard there by Tristan Herbert in the 33. Fix was trying to come back onto the racetrack after going off. He was pointed in the wrong direction, didn't realize there was oncoming traffic. That car is heavily damaged.
Case scenario, we see an onboard here.
Oh my heavenly days, Fix gets hammered.
Wow, that's a huge impact.
He's had an open wheel crash and essentially a sedan.
I did not expect to see that car upside down on the track and then get over the fence.
We have had initial word through that there are no major.
A minor touch, and unless it broke the steering on the Mustang, I don't think it was wheel to wheel, to be honest.
Out,
Jeremy.
take a look. Top of the screen, you see Rossi coming out of his pit stall.
Maybe it was, but it just kicked the car
He
to the
gets
right-hand side. I think that's as much as Paul pinching the corner and trying to...
Terrifying Rossi coming out of his pit as the left front wheel, the suspension coming in and over the cockpit.
Luckily, it's 2 races in a row.
Saw this problem with the lotion in Newgarden in Mid-Ohio.
Lloyd through
Everyone else, they talked about a wing adjustment, they vetoed that wing adjustment and a crash on the track.
Luckily, it's gone to that tyre barrier.
We have had initial word through that there are no major.
Voilà. Vous voyez, il va partir dans l'échappatoire à gauche. Et en fait, on n'a pas le droit de couper, on est obligé de passer à gauche. Vous voyez, il y a cette bande blanche. Et là, va taper à gauche.
Qui va taper, voilà.
Voilà.
Qui a tapé le mur.
Et là, les autres arrivent derrière, peuvent pas l'éviter. Voilà, il a les 2 autres derrière lui. Il a embarqué les 2 autres.
Meantime, here comes Fix back up onto the racetrack. He's going to try to snap that car. Oh, and he gets hammered. He gets taken hard there by Tristan Herbert in the 33. Fix was trying to come back onto the racetrack after going off. He was pointed in the wrong direction, didn't realize there was oncoming traffic. That car is heavily damaged.
Case scenario, we see an onboard here.
Oh my heavenly days, Fix gets hammered.
Wow, that's a huge impact.
He's had an open wheel crash and essentially a sedan.
I did not expect to see that car upside down
on the track and then get over the fence.
We have had initial word through that there are no major...
A minor touch, and unless it broke the steering on the Mustang, and I don't think it was wheel to wheel, to be honest, Jeremy, there was the... Oh, well, maybe it was. Yeah. Maybe it was, but it just kicked the car to the right-hand side, and I think that's as much as Paul pinching the corner and trying to...
A fast approach to that braking zone, and it has whistled off at a huge rate of knots down here. Luckily, it's gone to that tyre barrier. There's not far left of that. Clearly, there's a concrete wall, so that is a frightening scene.
And we very rarely see
everyone else. They talked about a wing adjustment. They vetoed that wing adjustment and a crash on the track.
Huge crash on the front straightaway. Looks like Connor Daly and I believe Joseph Newgarden. Big hit coming into the tri-oval. Sound of it. And the violence that you see with which Connor's car snaps. Watch this. He gets loose and now he's going to correct.
Wow. Attempting to have his helmet off.